Savior came and found me, and overwhelming with His glory. Fight from the race, I can't be turned, I won't be moved. I am determined, just so you know.
I won't look back, the past is nothing for me. Lord, I'm looking forward, and it's gotta be you I see. My steps are ordered, gonna do my best to serve you only, forsaking all the rest. Trying to stop myself, realize that I've been blessed. I'm done with fear and doubt. Now my life is all about past my pride. I will die with my failures far behind. Now Jesus is mine.
Stepping out by faith because the Savior came and found me,
Overwhelmed with His
and
glory.
overwhelming with His glory. Fight the fight, run the race, I can't be turned, I won't be moved. I am determined,
So you know,
just
so
so
you
you
know,
know.
I'm moving on.
Hello, good morning, and Happy New Year. Is it still New Year? 5th of January? Yeah, still say New Year. So how was it? Was it good? Did you have a good time? My name is, in case you haven't met before, my name is Howard Vaughan. This is Howard's Couch, the first and last of 2022. Yes, it's the last Howard's Couch. It's all being revamped and everything else, and be, I don't know, hopefully exciting for the new year. So why don't you introduce yourself and say where you're watching from, put it in the chat. And if you put it in the chat, I'll give you a note, I'll give you a shout out, put your message on the screen and everything else. So couch interviews, yes, or Howard's Couch, used to be called a couch. So where I have some really this must be an episode, I can't remember, 82, 3. So I've had 82 guests on this since March 2020, and it's been absolutely brilliant. But it's time to sort of change things up a little bit. I'll still be going live talking to you guys out there, and I'm multi-streaming today. I'm actually live on LinkedIn, which is my favorite social media platform, and so hello if you're watching on LinkedIn. And I'm also multi-streaming on Facebook. I'm streaming on my own Facebook profile and into a couple of groups. So if you're in there, join in the conversation. And if not, you can always join in on the replay anyway. So just put replay in the comments, and I always keep an eye out for things. And yeah, so you know what, I'm gonna bring my guest on, and it's a really good one for the last one, because it's a new year, new start, and you know, we carry on with our businesses, but sometimes you just may want to give it a bit of fizz, bit of sparkle, bit of magic, become a superhero. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce a brilliant person. Her name is Sheena Wyatt from, I love the name of her business, Kapow. Yes, I remember Batman used to go Kapow, probably. I'll ask her how she got the name. Anyway, Sheena, morning. How are
Good
you?
morning, Howard.
Good.
I'm just having a giggle about the Batman thing because now I can't get Sock and Biff out of my head. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. I should have told you this before. So just say your name and name of your business, because I'll be editing this afterwards. So introduce yourself, Sheena.
Certainly will. My name is indeed Sheena Wyatt, and I run a fabulous business and branding business called Kapow.
Brilliant. Excellent. So that I'll put that into the edit. I should have told you that before, but this is why I like going live, because it's instant, and hopefully we'll get people coming in. It's going to take a bit of time, but you know what? We'll have a chat, and people can ask the replay. So before we talk about why you do, how you do, and everything else, what made you become a branding business coach? Tell us a little bit about your background.
It's a good story, or at least I think it is. Funnily enough, I did not grow up wanting to be a business coach. In fact, I grew up first of all wanting to be an astronaut. Then I wanted to be a vet. Then I wanted to be a ballerina. Funnily enough, none of those things happened. I actually went into the world of work of learning and development. I spent a long time teaching people how to do stuff, teaching people how to do public speaking, teaching people how to use various Microsoft products, did all of that, and was self-employed, have been self-employed for the best part of 21 years. The reason that the branding and business coaching came about was, frankly, Stephen Thomas's fault, who is somebody that we're both aware of through an organisation that we're both members of. And I was having a one-to-one with him at a meeting. No, I wasn't really, Howard. I was ranting at him. I was having a proper whinge about how nobody was buying my stuff and how this was completely outrageous. And when I let him get a word in edgeways, which was difficult for him, he just asked me one very simple question. What is it that people want to buy from you? And it stopped me in my tracks, because I thought, right, it's not what I'm offering. So he got me to think about what it is that people were asking me to give them. And it was branding and business coaching. So we flipped over a placemat, scribbled out a few things. 72 hours later, Kapow was born. 2 weeks after that, my first workshop was out there and fully booked, and I haven't looked back since.
Blimey.
Kapow.
Yeah. So was it your first business?
No, my first business is, well, it still is the business that I'm running now. So I started off as a sole trader back in 2001, in fact, on 9/11, which is also an interesting part of my business story, and incorporated a few years after that. So my limited company is Lightning Training, and I've been running that now since 2001.
Excellent. I know obviously you teach people this, but I think what people hopefully will like to know is that you're starting your own business. So what sort of systems did you put in place, or regarding organization for the business? What sort of lessons, your own unique lessons, did you learn from that?
The first unique lesson that I would say there, Howard, is don't decide to become self-employed the afternoon after the Twin Towers attack when your husband is just about to go to war on the back of 2 bottles of Prosecco.
Okay.
That was my big business plan. But in all seriousness, that chain of events effectively made me realize how unhappy I was being employed. And that was for a number of different reasons. I've been, in employment for quite a while, doing all sorts of different things to get to where I was in my career. But I really didn't like being employed. I didn't like not having control over what I was doing. So although it was a very dramatic series of events that caused a lot of us, I think, who were, around at that time to reevaluate what we were doing with our lives, and being married to a pilot in the Royal Air Force, still am. Thankfully, he did manage to come back all 9 times that he went out to Iraq and Afghanistan. I just thought, hang on a minute, why am I doing something that makes me unhappy? And being me and being quite impulsive, I just thought, well, do you know what? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Let's just rip the plaster off. So I talked about it with a friend over the aforesaid 2 bottles of Prosecco the afternoon. And at the end of that 2 bottles of Prosecco, I thought I felt invincible. And so I called in the next morning, quit my job, and started off as a sole trader, and was scared witless for the first, 2 or 3 months, which was when I took the time to put some systems into place, which were not at all detailed or complicated, because at that time my focus was all about, right, okay, Sheena, you put your big girl pants on, but you had absolutely no idea what you're doing. And I knew what I needed to do was to get business. So the processes and the systems kind of had to evolve along with me. And that is a lot of what I now tell people through business coaching is, if it feels right and you're going to do it, put your big girl pants on or your big boy pants on and just do it. Work the detail out as you go along. There are some bits that are important. Classically, don't do this if this is going to be the difference between putting food on the table and not putting food on the table. I'm not saying that you take that risk, but overthinking it is one of the biggest cause of procrastination that we have. And so if you've been, I want to do, but is think, what's the worst that could happen? Feel the fear and just do it anyway. Let's give it a go.
That's brilliant. I like that. Someone much wiser than me, they said, take imperfect action. Because I think, by the time you think everything is perfect, you never do anything. In fact, I'm just going to share this out on Facebook to our group. Sorry about this. because I'm not
That's
sure.
fine.
I didn't think it was showing up in there. So just going to wait for it to come up. And there we go. Let me just. Right, let's just do this.
Oh, this
Sorry
takes
about
me back to the days of Lunch and Learn, Howard. You know, when there'd be that
right.
bit at the beginning trying to get it shared everywhere. Oh, I remember those
Yeah,
days.
I did share it before, but it's a new post, so people may not see it. So I'm just going to tag some strategic people in that, which I've now done. I might as well tag you in it now, I suppose. Might as well. So there we go. Sorry about that. Save. There we go. Let's get some traction on this. There's a tip. Whenever you go live, try and publicize it much as you possibly can and share it around and get people interested. So, but you know, as I say, there's always a replay, and you can always ask questions in the replay, so that'd be good. So when someone comes to see you, what's the most sort of one consistent issue that people face when they come to see you?
It's the issue is generally a lack of something. So what I will tend to ask people is to tell me what their biggest business challenge is, and then I will take that and give them some idea of how working with a coach could help. And I think one of the really important things about how I operate as a business coach is that everybody who has the idea that they want to work with me or they want to find out a bit more about Kapow will have a mini coaching session with me, because actually what's really important is making sure that you're the right fit as a coach. And that does mean that there have been people who have booked mini coaching sessions with me, and we've got to the end of that time, and I have actually said, I don't think I'm the right person to help you. The joy of having a really big and extended network is that I can often then refer them to somebody who I think can. I've got to be the right fit for them. And they also have to want to make change. That's one of the big things. And that mini coaching session allows us to have that conversation. What do you think is your biggest challenge right now? I take that on board and I give them some ideas of how I think they could get round it, through it, over it, whatever it is. And, you know, that brings in a lot of that initial conversation. It helps me to get an idea of where they are. And that biggest challenge can either be a lack of focus. They've got an idea that they just don't know how to make that idea happen, or that is triggering a lack of confidence. They've got the idea, they've got an idea about how they want to make it happen, but they just need someone to either push them over the edge and go, yeah, come on, let's do it, or do that whilst holding their hand and going, all right, I've got you. Let's make sure that this is going to be viable, that it's going to be marketable, that it's going to be something that adds value to your business and adds value to your clients and isn't a vanity project.
Excellent. We'll pick up on that. We've got a question from Kirsty Hall. Morning, Kirsty. Thanks for joining us. She said, well, why did you choose Kapow as a name?
It comes to that conversation with Stefan at a one-to-one meeting, and you know, if he's not paying me commission on every time I mention him when people ask me about my business, then he should be. But that conversation generated a lot of things. When I was then thinking about what do I want this to look like, so he lit the spark, if you like, that made me think, I'm trying to sell people stuff they don't want to buy, because I'm not listening to what they're asking me to provide. What they want from me is my advice, guidance, mentorship, coaching based on 20 plus years of running a business, all the failures and all the successes. So, you know, I was thinking, well, what does that look like? Now, you know, one of the things that I have never been ashamed to admit is it comes on the back of wanting to be an astronaut when I was growing up, is, you know, I have always been fascinated in superheroes, in space travel. I am the daughter of a fighter pilot. I am married to a pilot. There's a theme going on here. And I scribbled a little stick figure with a cape. And as I sort of did that, I thought, now that's got legs. And so when you said in the intro earlier why I was giggling and you went Batman, it just triggered in my head those images from the old Adam West Batman comics I used to watch as a little girl. Kapow, sock, Biff, you know? So I wrote Kapow down, and then I thought, how am I going to make that work? So this is how I made it work. It's actually an acronym. So K is for knowledge, A is for approach, P is for personality, O is for organization. When you combine that all together in your authentic business self, that equals W, which is winning. Kapow.
Brilliant. I like that. We will go back to what you were just talking about before, but regarding, you know, how important is the name of the business? Because, you know, you've got Kapow, and I've seen your logos, like pop culture sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
How important is it? Should it be relevant to what you're doing, or an abstract name like Kapow? I mean, because my understanding is that, you know, people are a bit silly, including us too, that, you know, people need to know exactly what you're doing. So how important is the name? Should it be like abstract, or like, oh, so and so's solutions, something? You know, how important is it? Or or should it be the last thing you come up with?
Now, that is a very good way of looking at it, because my answer would be, it doesn't matter what the name is, as long as you believe in it. So if I had called myself Sheena Wyatt Business Coaching and Personal Branding, the way I'm saying it, it bores me rigid. You know, I wouldn't, you know, that gives me nothing to get behind. You know, it's frankly, well, it's dull. There's nothing in it, because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the whole, hello, my name is Sheena Wyatt, I'm going to change your life through my mate. You know, I'm bored already, yada, yada, get on with it, jog on, twinkle. But some people are not comfortable with that. They're not comfortable with having something that's abstract. So what's interesting is, I'm being joined by my cat. What's interesting, who thankfully is on his own, he normally brings something in at that point. If you have, one of the things that can happen is, if your business is not performing the way you want it to, there are some key things to look at, but it all starts with you. And when I'm talking with people at the beginning of a coaching relationship, I will quite often ask them whether or not they still love their business. And they can be a bit sort of taken aback, because the knee-jerk answer is always, yes, of course I am. But then you kind of see the face go, or am I? And sometimes it can be because you've come up with a name for a business that was great when you started, but your business has evolved and your business name hasn't, or it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel authentic. It's something that somebody told you should do when you were setting your business up. You can't call a business Kapow. Nobody will know what that means. Well, you know what? They can't know what it means. Boris, thank you very much. We are live. You know, it's thinking, but the point is, it's the person behind the business. Do you do business with a business name?
Yeah.
No, you don't. You do business with a person, or in my case, a person and a cat's tail. Gotta love him.
I know, this is about going live. You get things going across the screen. It's like, you know, it's good job as the last one. I'll never do another one. So yeah. Oh, there they go again. There we go. Bye.
He'll be back. He'll be back across the other way in a bit.
You reckon?
You know, don't get too hung up about having a business name that you think needs to be sensible, corporate, etc. if that's not who you are. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to who you are. People do business with people. They don't do business with the business names.
Oh, all right. So it's a messaging behind it. Because, as I say, you know, there's some other examples like Moonpig. It's for apparently that was his nickname. But he was bullied at school, funny enough. That doesn't relate to cars, does it? So
no.
Okay. All right.
You know, Funky Pigeon is another good example there. You wouldn't, if somebody said to you, do you buy from Moonpig or Funky Pigeon? Neither of those things are saying, do you buy greetings cards online? It's
they got the message out there, and that's what you do with your clients, isn't it? It's getting them okay. Because all right, I'm going through a bit of a transformation myself, hence I'm closing down Howard's Couch, and because my current business name is Whirly Gigs Create, and I'm debating whether to keep that or go something a bit different. So we may have a chat afterwards, but I think it's the messaging behind it. Okay. Yeah. So getting back to what I was paying attention, I didn't fall asleep when you said you're a business coach. So it is a personal thing, isn't it? Because you've got to be on the same page, haven't you?
Yeah.
But by the same token, you've got to be honest. I mean, people may realize that for transparency, I do know you. So, and I know you're quite forthright, which for me, in a coach, any personal business relationship, that's what I need. I don't want to pay lip service. I want you to be to be brutally honest. We've got Kirsty again with a comment. Just going to read it out. Kirsty saying that is something to think about. Someone told me I couldn't use my other business name as people don't know what it means. HPL Skills, help preserve life. However, my customers buy the training, etc. I cover. Okay, and just a take on question, Sheena. Does every business need? That was going to be my question. Does every business need a business coach?
Well, now, if I was going to have my buy my stuff head on, I'd be saying, of course, yes, every business needs a business coach. I think the actual honest answer is it's looking at the business owner. So does every business owner need a business coach? Maybe not. Maybe a business coach isn't what you need. But what I would say is that running a business in isolation, it can be quite a dangerous thing to do. And not everybody is at the right stage to have a business coach. Some people have run a business for a long time before they realize that they need help to guide them where they want to go, or that they need somebody to look at their business objectively and help them work out why things don't feel quite the same way as they did before. But I think the most important thing to answer that is, as a business owner, if you get to the stage where you think, I think I might need some help, is then thinking, right, who do I feel I need to go and approach for help? And everybody will look differently. Whether or not you need help with a specific part of your business, which might be sales, it might be marketing, it might be how to network for your business. There are people out there who can help you with those specific sides of growing your business. A good business coach, in my opinion, will be able to cover all of that, but also be able to recognize when they get to a point where they run out of their expertise. So, for example, if somebody, they need some very structured financial coaching, that is not my bag. But I know plenty of people that I would be able to say, do you know what, that's not for me to give you expert advice. I can give you guidance based on my experience, but I can give you a referral into someone who I know can help you with this specific problem. So does every business need a business coach? Of course, with my buy my stuff head, it will be, yes, absolutely. And it needs to be me. But the realistic answer is, does every business need help, support, and guidance at some stage? Yes, they do. You just need to determine whether you want that to be in the form of business coaching, which covers all of those things and should offer you more and challenge you and get you to think outside the box for your business, or is it something specific that you're looking for that you may need to reach out to deal with that particular area where you want your business to grow or change?
Yeah,
it's looking for people to support. And yes, every business does need that support at some time.
excellent. So just take us through the process when someone first makes contact with you. Just what I'm trying to say is that just explain what it's like working with you, Sheena.
Well, it's all online. It was online before the dreaded COVID happened. As we were talking earlier, I live in a gorgeous little town called Sleaford, which is in southern Lincolnshire, which basically means I'm in the middle of nowhere. So dealing with my clients face to face was never going to happen. It was just impossible. So all of my coaching is online, and the process generally how it is that somebody will decide that they want to find out more about how business coaching can help them, and so they will book a mini coaching session, which they can do through my website. And that mini coaching session is with me on the phone. I will give them a call. I will ask them one major question. We will work through how I can help them find the answer to that question. And at the end of that coaching call, I will ask them if they want to take it to the next stage, which is coming to work with me. They decide how long they want to work with me. So it's 90, 60 or 30 minutes a month. We book their first session in and away we go. It's grab your cape and your underpants and let's get going.
Okay. There we go. Let me just do that. And here we are. This is your website.
That's the one.
There's you. Your super business coach. Capel, I love that. Can you see my cursor, my hand going over there? So this is why we'll put your details towards the end, Sheena. But yeah, so it's a getting to know you sort of thing first.
Yeah, very much so. In that mini coaching session, excuse me, froggy throat, it allows me to determine whether or not what that person feels is holding them back is something that I can help them with, which we talked about earlier. And it just gives them also an indication of my style. So you mentioned earlier, made me smile, they're quite forthright. Yep. If you want a business coach who's going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you that you're brilliant, that's not me. If you want a business coach that's going to go, for the love of God, will you just stop and listen? That is me, because one of the reasons I have confidence to do that is that my business journey has not been all sweetness, light, fairy dust, and and happy days. I've made some catastrophic business mistakes in my time, but most importantly, I've learned from them. And what that also means is that I can see the danger signs coming when I'm working with my clients and thinking, oh, you are heading towards the same mistake I made. It's time to stop doing that. It also means I can manage expectation. If you want global domination, that's possible, but it's going to take time and it's going to take commitment. And you've got to be invested in that to get that kind of exposure that you want, in order to have that kind of, I'm everywhere and everybody knows me for what I offer. So it's working with me. One of my clients basically said, it's lovely. Every time I come into a coaching session with Sheena, I have absolutely no idea where it's going to go. But 10 minutes in, she's pulled all this stuff out of my head. And at the end of that hour, I come away thinking, oh my God, I came in thinking I wanted to talk about this. Now I've got all this stuff to work on to grow my business. That's my superpower.
Lovely. You may have answered this next question, but I'll ask anyway. So what's the best thing that sort of gives you pleasure from what you do? And do you have a success story as well, Sheena?
I've got loads. And I've got loads, and that really sounds like a bit of an ego trip. But what gives me great pleasure about coaching people is the same thing that gave me great pleasure about teaching people. It's when you see the light bulb moment come on. And it's when you see that moment when they go, oh my God, I get it. And I wrote a blog about it a while ago, which is that every client that I work with at some point in their time with me will have their holy ass butts moment. The moment when they go, I get it. Sometimes that can be 3 months. Sometimes that can be 6 months. Sometimes that can be 18 months. And that success story particularly is I have a right hand and a left hand woman in my business, if you like. And my right hand woman is Amanda Ralston. And she'd been working with me for quite a while and then suddenly had her epiphany moment where she realized that she actually didn't like doing what she was doing. What she wanted to do was something else. And so we took that, did a bit of that with it, stretched it about a bit, put the plasticine back together, and boom, out came flaming good marketing support. She's never looked back since.
Brilliant. I like that. Excellent. So just joining live or on the replay, you're missing a good one here, but you can catch the replay. I got Kapow, Sheena. Do you know what? Confession. I keep saying Sheena Easton. That gives my name. That gives my age away. And talking about Amanda Ralston, she said slow burn. There you go. Morning, Amanda. So we're talking about business coaching, why you need one, and how coaches such as Sheena can help you sort of get your superpower. So if you're watching the replay, this is what we're talking about. So if you are joining, I know people come in and come out, they've got busy things. So down there, if you just sort of comment, ask Sheena your question. We had some really good questions this morning, so thank you for that. Obviously you've got a lot of passion with what you do, and I'm sensing that it's probably quite exciting working with we're talking about you working with you, because you don't know what's going to happen, do you? You may have a germ of an idea for a business or to revamp it, and where it's kind of going to go, it's going to be exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And one of the reasons why I work that way is I'd had a traditional, in inverted commas, business coach for a while before I started to offer it. And one of the things that really frustrated me was you know, I would be sitting there thinking, right, I've got this great idea for an underwater basket weaving course, and I think it's brilliant, and I want to talk to them about it. And I'd go into my marketing, you know, my coaching session, and I'd get, well, it's month 4, so we're going to talk about marketing. So I don't want to talk about marketing. I want to talk about this. I just got really frustrated with it being about their agenda as a coach rather than reacting to what I wanted as a business owner. So I have never done that. I have never gone into a coaching call thinking, right, you know, it's Howard and it's his 6th session, so today we're going to talk about this, because quite frankly, Howard, the idea of that bores me rigid. One of the things that I love about doing my job is that it taps into the creative side of me, and I am a massive creative. I love all that side of running a business. I love content creation. I love coming up with marketing ideas for my business and for my clients. I love all of that stuff. Am I the detail girl? No, I'm not. And and it's actually learning that is both my strength, and then recognizing that that's where I need help in my business was also, a big epiphanal moment for me, is thinking I'm holding myself back because I am trying to do all the things that I think I should be doing, but quite a lot of these are things I either don't want to do, or I don't enjoy doing them, or I don't know how to do it. And I'm thrashing about. Actually, if I'm not thrashing about, I'm just quietly ignoring it. I will create all of this fantastic content, for example, and it will go nowhere because the actual process of uploading it, blah, blah, doing the meta, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, stick pins in my eyes now, Howard, because I'm already bored. So it's one of the key things I think about successful business growth, and also where a coach can help you, is particularly when they've had that experience, is saying sometimes you can be your own worst enemy. You don't think you are, because you think you're putting all the energy and work into your business. But it's getting, people to think, okay, if this job, the thing in your business is task creeping from day to day to week to month to month, this is the universe trying to tell you something. And this is the universe trying to tell you that you need help with this. And you then need to decide, do I want to learn how to do it? Do I want to just basically man up wet pants and do it because it's something I can do, I'm just not? Or is that a combination of the two, basically that I should get somebody else to do it? And it's having a mindset change at that point from, but if I do that, it's going to cost me money. And thinking, but think about this. That job that you're not doing, when you finally get round to doing it because you've left it so long, this is now a massive job that's going to take you hours, and you're going to hate every minute of it, and you're going to try and put it off, all that stuff. You outsource that to somebody who can do it like that. All that time, you get back in your business to do what you do best. It's a no-brainer when you look at it that way. And you just think, if your strength is in the content creation, but the idea of posting it properly with all the right sort of setup around it for SEO and all that kind of thing, sharing it, scheduling, all that, if that bit is the bit that makes you just want to curl up and die, then go and get someone to help you. Her name's Amanda Ralston. She's in this chat. But it's that kind of thing where you have to take a step back. And sometimes that's where a coach is that trigger point, because they can look from the outside in and go, are you sure that you should be focusing on this? Are you sure you shouldn't be thinking about doing this instead? If you lose a client, what could you do with that time instead? You think, okay, I've lost a client. And it's like, yeah, okay, but hold on a minute. If you lose one client, what can you do in your business with that time to replace them with 2? See the positive, look through it. And that's sometimes how a coach can also help, is get you through the panic and into seeing a bit of clarity. But they're never going to do that if they come into each coaching call with you with their agenda and not yours.
Yes, absolutely. My mind wanders all the time. We're coming near the end, unfortunately. So it's still time to get your comments in, folks, and questions, because I think what Sheena's giving out for free today is absolute gold dust. And catch the replay for watching this live, because there's some real nuggets. I'm learning from this. So here's another fair question. Why should people use Sheena Wyatt?
Why should people use Sheena Wyatt? That is a very good question. Because I will thoroughly walloping kick up the butt to get stuff done is basically what I'll do. I have had a major episode in my life that made me realize that time is too short to fanny arse about not getting on with what we want to do. And sometimes what you need is somebody to come in and tell you to stop fanny arsing about, put your big girl pants or your big boy pants on, and just sodding well get on with it. And that is why you should work with me.
Brilliant. Like I said, we're coming to the end, unfortunately. Is there a question that you wanted me to ask you, but I always ask this, that I haven't? Is there a question that you think, oh God, why doesn't Howard ask me that question? You know, any promo?
I don't think there is.
No,
I really don't think there is. I think we had a great chat before we went live that, you know, put us both on the same page. And no, I don't think there is anything. I'd be interested if anybody out there thinks there's something you should have asked me that you didn't.
that'd be interesting. Now's your chance before we say goodbye. I have put the details up. Do it again. How can people get hold of you, Sheena?
Best way to get hold of me is indeed by dropping me an email, sheena@kapowme.com, or indeed toddling over to the website, which is kapowme.com. And if you're interested in finding out more about how I can give you a thoroughly good kick up the butt, that's where you can go ahead for a free mini coaching session and see where it takes you.
Excellent. Well, our time is up, unfortunately. We could carry on, but we probably end up talking about the same thing in a different way. So it's best to keep people leaving more. So I'm going to put you back in the green room, and I'll say goodbye to the people watching, and we'll have a post-show cocktail.
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah, there is a fully equipped. I know it's early morning, but there is a fully equipped bar with mocktails because it's too early. So help yourself to that and canapes. Everybody, put your hands together for the wonderful, brilliant Sheena White from Capel. Thank you so much, Sheena.
Thank you, Howard. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, let's put you back into the thing. There we go. That was Sheena. Wow, what a lady! I got genuinely excited about what I'm going to try and do in the new year. So I'll leave the details in there a little bit. There you go. Just give her a bell. You get a free consultation. And that's it. What was I going to say? That really is it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's the end of Howard's Couch, or previously Couch interviews. It's been brilliant. But it's not going to go away entirely, but it will be back in some. I'm just trying to produce this show by myself. Some different format. So yeah, in fact, I'm going to leave you with this. It was when it was called Couch Interviews Live, just a little bit of a show reel, and I'll come back and say goodbye. Just a bit of self-indulgence, quite frankly. There you go. Hello, this is Couch Interviews with Howard Vale, and today my special guest is Caroline Andrew Johnson, Dana Bence from StreamYard. Hi, Pippa. Hi, Pippa. How you doing? Callum Nicholson, Terry Cooper. Good morning.
How do we know what you do? Do it your way.
StreamYard's the best place to work.
No one had global pandemic written in their business plan, did they?
Really good to keep making new connections, meet new people.
And what it made possible was to put 4N online to launch 2 new businesses. My business is called The Chairman.
Yeah. Genius.
There we go. The Chairman.
Wonder why. Still thinking of emotive words to say. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I love all your branding. Did you do all of that yourself?
Yeah, do all the branding myself.
Wow. We'll jump into a StreamYard room.
Yes, StreamYard room. Yeah, could be a new product. Alan, as always, if there's any young children watching this live on the replay, just put them in a different room. And I'll speak to you soon. And that's it. Okay. Well, there you go. So from me to you, to everybody who's been on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's been brilliant, but I will be back online, and and I will have the occasional guest on, so there'll be some different format. So for now, from me, from Howard's Couch, everybody been on the show. We'll speak soon. Yeah, cheers, Al. That was a bit on the end. This is the director's cut. I'm out of here. See ya. Thanks for joining, Al. Right, do that.